If you want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below.
Look at this headline. Indonesia passes law punishing sex outside of marriage with jail for citizens and tourists. Who are they targeting? Who are they targeting? Indonesia has passed a controversial law punishing sex outside marriage with up to a year in jail for citizens and tourists alike. The amended criminal code includes several revised articles that make sex outside marriage punishable by a year in jail and cohabitation by 6 months. But adultery charges must be based on police reports lodged by their spouse, parents, or children. Also, according to the new code, the promotion of contraception and religious blasphemy are illegal. Additionally, in the code, abortion is a crime, but it adds exceptions for women who have life-threatening conditions and for rape. These laws didn't just come out of space. Passport bros out here messing it up for other countries. Now, let's not act like I do not read the news. I just showed that one, but I could have shown this one from the BBC, and this came out on December 5th. December 5th. So, let's not act like I'm making this stuff up. This came out on December 5th. The BBC said the same thing. So, if you did a little research, you would see that I am not trolling. I am telling the truth.
So you heard the woman in the video deciding to list that, oh, it's black men that are basically the AK passport bros. The reason why these laws are being enacted because all of you guys want to just go over there and you're just seeking out these women just specifically for one thing. Look at what this government is doing. Ha 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 ha. Gotcha. So let's go over the actual story because she didn't actually touch on or read anything. So this is the article at hand, right? Indonesia's parliament passed a long awaited and controversial revision of its penal code Tuesday that criminalizes extramarital sex for citizens and visiting foreigners alike. After ramifications, the new criminal code must be signed by the president, according to Deputy Minister of Law and Human Rights, Edward Hajari. The criminal code will not apply immediately. He also stated that the new law has a lot of implementing regulations that must be worked out, so it's impossible in 1 year, but takes a maximum of 3 years to transition from the old code to the new one. A copy of the amended criminal code obtained by the Associated Press includes several revised articles that make sex outside of marriage punishable by a year in jail and cohabitation by 6 months. But adultery charges must be based on police reports lodged by their spouses, parents, and children. It also states that promotions of contraceptions and religious blasphemy are illegal, and it restores a ban on insulting a city president and vice president, state institutions, and national ideology. Insults to a sitting president must be reported by the president and can lead up to 3 years in jail. The deputy minister also stated that the government provided the strictest possible explanation that distinguishes between insults and criticism. The code maintains that abortion is a crime and it adds exceptions for women with life threatening medical conditions and for grape, provided that the fetus is less than 12 weeks old, in line with what is already regulated in the 2004 medical practice law. Rights group criticized some of the revisions as overly broad or vague and warned that rushing them into the new criminal code could penalize normal activities and threaten freedom of expression and privacy rights. However, some advocates hailed it as a victory for the country's LGBTQ minority. Lawmakers, during a fierce deliberation session, eventually agreed to repeal an article proposed by Islamic groups that would have made gay sex illegal. The code would also preserve the death penalty within criminal justice systems, despite calls from the National Commissions of Human Rights and other groups to abolish capital punishment, as dozens of other countries have done. The penal code has languished for decades while legislators in the world's biggest Muslim majority nation struggle with how to adapt its native culture and norms to the criminal code, a lasting legacy of the Dutch colonial administration. Indonesia, the world's fourth most populous nation and third largest democracy, proclaimed independence August 17th of 1945. So this is where we are, right? You have this image of a hodgepodge worth of stuff, right? So one image is the sex island, right? Women flocking to this holiday hotspot to romp with beach gigolos, right? That was the title of one of the stories that I saw online. Then in the left-hand image, you see men in Indonesia, but you don't see black men there, right? Normally, if you look on YouTube and whatnot, and you look at tourism, you normally see Europeans, you normally see Caucasians. You're not going to see fields of black men, fields upon fields upon fields of black men just flooding the streets and yada, 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 right? The next image to the right, you see Jakarta police raid a gay sex party amid a crackdown on LGBT Indonesians, right? So you see the groups of men that were basically caught up in that raid that took place. And then another article that I was able to see, which stated that Indonesia, now the number one destination for Australian men who decide to go after a certain type of individual when they're tourists there. So I'm just a little bit baffled and confused on how is it possible with all of the information that you are able to see directly in front of you, on top of the information specifically from the article listing that it is a Muslim country, right? They have other religions that are there that are being practiced, right? But it is heavily a Muslim country. And we know within the Muslim faith, they take a lot of things very, very seriously. And dealing with premarital sex, dealing with abortions, dealing with contraceptives, birth control, things of that nature, they take that to the utmost seriousness. And I understand and respect that. But to try to say from her own mouth, and this is a what I'm assuming to be a black woman, right? Um, She's stating that this is because of the passport bros, right? She's specifically talking about black men, right? And to try to say that black men are at fault or to blame for this, that is the furthest reach I have ever heard at this moment in time on social media. And also due to the fact that so many people always say that black men have no power, every other man has more power than you to enact and change laws and to do this and to do that. So which one is it? Are you saying that the few black men who have ventured over there magically have caused such a mass hysteria to take place that the government has to get a hold of the women and everything that they hold dear? Really? That's what we're doing here? That's what you're trying to say? And are you also trying to apply that the only reason that black men go over to these countries is solely just for one purpose? That's it. They're not going over there for anything else. They're not going for the culture, the language, the food, the beautiful scenery, to basically relax, to be able to take a deep breath away from America. Because it's amazing to me that that doesn't come up whenever we talk about passport bros or black men just venturing off. Nobody talks about the fact that black men suffer from PTSD. And this is never on an off switch. It's always on. Black men are always in a fight mode when it comes to fight or flight. It's always a fight mode, which is very tiring, which wears and tears on the body, on the system, causes a lot of stressors, and it brings problems when it comes to your health, to the defense system that you have. And when and if black men are able to travel, this allows them to breathe because they're not dealing with the same system. They're not dealing with somebody who might potentially try to Karen and call the police just to have them erased. They're not dealing with all of the back and forth that they normally have to deal with in the black community, with their own brothers, with, their own women, with their family. Like I said before, it's funny that, whenever black men seem excited about doing something brand new and they're traveling and they're expressing like, yo, how refreshing this is, how it feels great, how they feel re-energized, revigorated, and all these other types of things. You have people online that want to look at that as a negative. They want to try to demonize and criminalize that in some type of way, shape, or form. So women just like her who have been talking have basically deemed all women from different countries third world. They've also deemed these women as nothing but walkers of the street. They've also deemed them as, nothing at but pretty much objects set up there to buy. And specifically stating that, hey, this is the only reason that black men are over there. Not to mention the fact that black men have a constant argument with black women. There is a slight divide that is taking place. Conversations turn into arguments when they don't need to be. Right? You got to deal with women who are potentially combative, argumentative, right? In some instances you have some women out here who want to try to challenge a man. They want to try to act aggressive and masculine. Like I said, I'm not saying all, but I'm saying you do have those women out there, and I've showcased those women directly on this platform. But like I said, it's funny how a lot of those things happen to get ignored when people want to try to come through and demonize black men for simply traveling. And these are also the same women that come through and state that black men are broke, that they don't have them no money, they can't hold down a job, they can't do this, they can't do that. Well, if that's the case, then how are they affording to be able to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars, to go over and travel somewhere? How? Like I said, you gotta have money to stay there for a couple of weeks to a month. Like you gotta have some stuff there. You're not going to be just traveling like, okay, I done paid like 1,200 or whatever it is for my ticket, and I'm just going to come through with just like $500, $200, and I'm good. I don't got to worry about. Nah, son, you realistically need to have more than that because there's always a just in case or anything can sit up there and happen. You got to really have more than that. But like I said before, a lot of the logic when you actually sit there and you put it together and you filter through and you listen to a lot of the stuff, it doesn't make sense in the end. It just comes through as these are a lot of women who are jaded because they were wrong, because they selectively chose the wrong type of guy. They slept with the wrong type of guy. They opened their legs up to the wrong type of guy, and they had kids with the wrong type of guy. And those same women, chances are, ended up unmarried. They ended up unhappy. All of the guys that they could have been with, that they could have chose, they overlooked those guys for the wrong guys. Because I've yet to hear a woman sit up there and say like, yeah, a good guy has done me wrong. A good guy did this to me. Ma'am, that's not a good guy. Like I said, everybody always states that good guys finish last for a reason. So a lot of these women who are jaded and who are angry and who are frustrated and they want to attack all black men, they're not attacking and going after the good guys. They're attacking and going after and speaking about the ones that finished first, the one that they selectively chose. So like I said, there's a lot of women out here that need to seek a lot of therapy, self-reflection, and figure out a lot of things about themselves.